mess. Hi, I'm Liv and I'm reading 7 emotional books in 7 days. I don't know why I'm putting myself through this torture, I won't lie. I read Brightside a couple of weeks ago. No June wrap up, so that'll be linked in the cards now, where I spoke about this book and it destroyed me. Like, 5-star read, destroyed me, ripped my heart out. I love it when a book makes me feel something, and if it makes me feel that strongly that I'm crying my eyes out, then you best believe it's going to be a very good book. I've been reading my book since last night is when I started it, and the book is Dear Ava. I didn't know this was going to be an emotional read until people online were saying that it was quite emotional, and so yeah, I started it last night. I got 1 chapter in, I'll be honest, and the first chapter was like, I don't know, like 5 pages, and that was it. So I did drop it and I picked it up today and I'm starting this video. Dear Ava, this is a enemies to lovers standalone romance. I am on page 239 of 351 and I am 64% in, and I have 200 pages. I have 2 hours left of reading this, so I definitely will finish it today. This book basically started with a girl at a party with her boyfriend person she was with, and she wakes up and she's in the middle of a field, like in like a foresty area, and she has no idea what's happened to her, and her clothes are dishevelled, she's a bit hungover and she's in pain. Afterwards 10 months, and it's like the aftermath of everything. Whoever did it goes to school with her, and so they're a part of the jocks, and the jocks are people who are called the sharks who were at that party, so she doesn't know if you can trust any of them. And then she has, when she gets to school, a letter, a secret admirer who is writing letters and putting them in her locker. She doesn't know who it is, but they've left her phone number and they've said if you ever need them, there's a number to call. This book is like a dual story, so we get the character Knox and we get the character Ava. Knox is one of the sharks and he is kind of the one that everyone is a bit wary of because you don't quite know what he's gonna do. He's very serious. He doesn't really have long-term relationships with anybody, and he's known for having a big scar down his face that nobody knows what it's from. He's called Danes, the brother. I love him, I love Ava, and I love Knox. I think they're just such good characters. It hurt my heart. It didn't shatter it, but it hurt my heart to think, oh my gosh, like this is what she's dealt with. I feel like the tension about who has done this is like really good. I have a feeling there's going to be like something that happens that will hurt me, but yeah, I just don't know right now. Like 4 out of 5 star. I wasn't massively impressed by Dear Ava. I thought it was good, however I feel like the characters were not developed enough for a 300-page book. It was an extra 100 pages. We would get to know Chance and Dane a bit more. Could have given it like a 4.5 or 4.75. I really liked the story, however I felt like the way Ava reacted in a relationship, to me personally, didn't feel like somebody who had been through a traumatic event. Not that like everybody's the same, but I just expected like maybe more of a difficulty, and like more of a difficulty of her trying to get back to where she was normally. There was another 100 pages and the characters are a little bit more developed. I feel like it could have been a 4.5, but I feel like giving it a 4 is even me being like quite generous. It is the next day. I didn't end up starting any book last night. I actually went and watched a film with my parents. I read You've Reached Sam. I'm really excited to read it. It says that it's a 6 hour and 6 minutes book, so I hope that it is 6 hours. It may be less because I have a lot to do today. I read as much of it as I can. I will finish it today, I'm pretty certain of that, because I need to edit, I need to film another video, and I need to go to the supermarket. This is the cover of the book. It's so hard to show you. Oh wait, it's not going to have glare. I don't know why I was tilting it. This is the book. It says You've Reached Sam. You move forward when everything you love is on the line. 17-year-old Julie has all her future planned out, move out of her small town with her boyfriend Sam, attend college in a city, and spend a summer in Japan. But then Sam dies and everything changes. Desperate to hear his voice one more time, Julie calls Sam's phone just to listen to his voicemail, and Sam picks up the phone. What would you do if you had a second chance to say goodbye? That's like beautiful to me, and I feel like I might cry at this book. And I just want to add, my boyfriend's name is Sam. So this is gonna actually wreck my heart if it's actually emotional, because I'm gonna be sat here like, Sam. I've read 13 pages. Got a sad playlist on because it's like a hopeless romantic song. I'm like welling up. It's beautiful, but it's so sad. And I don't know if I'm just emotional. Music is definitely making this even more emotional, but this is what I did when I read Bright Side, and God, this book. Oh, I don't want to cry because my makeup looks good today. Such a beautiful couple, and how they met was beautiful. It's basically about Julie and Sam, and we get the beginning of how they met. So we see them like they had class together and everything, and then when she's working, he left her a cherry blossom that he'd like made out of like origami, and then a few weeks later she meets him where he works, and she leaves him a lily out of origami that she tried to make. And then like it skips forward and stuff, and you see them at school dance and everything, and then like it's adorable. But then we got a scene, and these are all like memories that she's thinking through, but then we got a scene of her talking to him after he'd passed, and she imagined it, and there was cherry blossoms like tied to the trees, like paper ones, and it was beautiful. And I actually want to read you what was said. It wasn't supposed to end like this. This was just the beginning. Our story's barely started. And then she says, "This isn't fair, Sam. I start, but my throat catches as I feel tears forming behind my eyes. Sam kisses me one last time. I know this wasn't part of our plan, Julie, but at least we had this time together, right? I want you to know, if I could do it all over again, I would. Every second of it. If the ending is this painful, I don't know if it was worth it at all." That's what she said. Like, if the end was painful, I don't know if it was worth it. I get close since I think about this. I'm sorry, Sam, but I don't think I can say the same. And then like he dissolves, and it's just like her mind like coming back to reality. I'm a mess. 51 of 296. I'm an actual mess. The whole like chapter that I've been reading is her talking to him and trying to make sense of everything, but he can't make sense of it either, and she can't figure out if this is all in her imagination or if it's real. I think it's real because certain things that he said are things that she didn't even know. So hello, Charlie. So she didn't even like know about some of the stuff he's telling her, and that morning she threw out all his stuff. Sad. It's just sad. There's basically, I don't want to like spoil this for anyone who's reading it, but like there's like a story about bookends that he could only afford one, and so he bought her the second one, but he never got a chance to give it to her before he died. And then she just had to admit to him that she threw all this stuff away, like, because it's too hard to look at it. And it's so sad. I'm a mess. Second time I've cried, so yeah. And the playlist is really not helping. It's just making it worse. It's making it like even more emotional for me. I always count on animals to make you happy when you are really struggling with this book. I love this book. So I've done 80% of this book. I've cried 3 times. I haven't cried since I last updated you because it's actually a really beautiful book. So this whole book is basically Sam is able to answer calls from her, but the connection gets weaker, and I feel like that like symbolizes like him slowly letting her go, and she doesn't want to let go. Like she's still like convinced that they can have a future together through this phone call, and he's like, no. And I think the only reason that they've got a connection on the phone is because he wants to make sure she'll be okay without him. So he's trying to convince her to go on dates and stuff, and she's like, why? Like, you're still here. And he's like, but I'm not, because like he is dead. finished the book. Oh my god. I honestly had no idea how they were gonna end that book, because I kept thinking, like, how are they gonna end this in a good way? Like, this, I don't see how they can be a good ending. The way that book ended was amazing. I didn't expect any of that, and it was beautiful, and it was emotional, and it was just freeing. Like, it was just a good way for it to end. If you're gonna read this book, if you're gonna read You've Reached Sam, God, you need to, like, if you are thinking about it, you need to read it. It's a book, it's a beautiful book about love and grief, and somebody who's trying to deal with grief in her own way, and somebody who's dead who's also trying to deal with grief, and they're both trying to deal with the fact that they'll never ever be able to be with each other, and she needs to move on and he needs to let her move on. It's beautiful, and I did not know what to expect because nobody really talks about that book. It was brilliant, like really brilliant. And the playlist I listened to was Sad Book Songs by Winter with a Y instead of an I. That was brilliant. I loved that book. I don't know if doing this, reading 7 emotional books, is gonna be a good thing or a bad thing, but I loved that book. It is the next day. It is currently Thursday, and I'm about to carry on with my next book. So last night I didn't actually tell you I was starting my book, but I did put in a video of me starting the book but not saying anything. So I started Love and Other Words last night, which is meant to be a second chance at love romance. So something has happened when they were childhood sweethearts, and then this is meant to be 15 years later. It's a dual, like, timeline, so it's a back and forth. So one chapter is the now, and then the next chapter is 15 years ago. And the now is that 11 years ago, she disappeared and didn't tell him anything of where she was going or anything. They lost contact completely, and they've just reconnected, Elliot and Macy. And then we also find out, like, in the past years that they met, and they met because of her and her dad bought a holiday home when she was 14, and the person next door was Elliot, and that's how they met. So it's like a dual storyline. I'm really liking it so far. It's really good. I am currently, let's have a look what page we're on. Currently read 23%, on page 89, and that's what I read last night. I feel like I'm going to get through this book quite quickly. It says I've got 4 hours left of this book, so that shouldn't be too long. It's pretty short considering I thought this was going to take me a bit of time. I don't know if this is gonna, like, wreck my heart like the last one did. I don't know if you saw from my reaction. Completely blindsided by the whole thing. It was amazing. I really loved it. Once again, I'm like 80% through my book, and I don't know if this is, like, I don't know. I know it's emotional. Like, I can feel like it's going that way. We're about to find out, like, what went wrong, why these people didn't have, you know, a good first chance at love, and why it's a second chance romance. We're about to find it out, whilst we're also seeing them, like, reconciliate their feelings. And there's some secret that she never told him, which is about to come out. I'm really nervous, I can't lie. Mega nervous. I've been listening to a romance book playlist. I have no idea what's gonna happen, but I'm, like, anxious. It's Gilmore Girls, so we've got Dragonfly Inn, we've got quotes from them, Luke's Diner, Rory and Dean at the top, Rory and Logan, Lorelai and Rory, quote from Luke and a quote from Lorelai. Luke's up there, and then I got some, like, scripture pages that I found on Pinterest, like scrapbook pages. I've just got to 90% of this book. I don't know if I felt for characters, like, as much as this, other than in, like, my 4 and 5 star reads. So I already knew this was going to be my 4-star reads at least, but The Secret, I kind of, like, I had, like, an inkling about it. I was like, it could be this, and it was. And now I'm, like, really angry at Elliot. Like, I'm really angry because of like the how like downplayed it was. Okay. In other words, is about friends to lovers to nothing to lovers. The vibe. And it is definitely a second chance at love. And we basically follow the character of... We follow two characters. We only get one person's perspective. So we get the perspective of Macy, and it's about Macy and Elliot. Macy and Elliot grew up together really from the age of 12. And we see this, no, 13 and 14, and we see this, and you basically have a dual timeline. So whilst we have that timeline happening, we also have the now happening. So the now and the timeline are 15 to 11 years apart. So we do some time jumping in the past timeline. There is a big secret that happens that is the reason that they lost contact, and something happened when they were together. Macy left, and she never spoke to Elliot ever again. And it's been 11 years, and Elliot bumps into Macy, and he's like, oh my god. And Macy's shocked, horrified, and completely embarrassed that she's bumped into him because she was trying to avoid him her whole life. The only thing about this book though is I will tell you that once you have read it, please read other people's reviews, because I did, and I went from giving this book a 3-star to a 4.5. And this is because there's a certain thing that happens in this book. I'm gonna say now, this bit will probably be a spoiler, and if you don't want this book having any whatsoever spoilers at all, do not listen to this bit and skip on. There is a guy who very clearly, now that I've read reviews, gets essayed by a girl. I'm not gonna tell you how that fits into the story because that would ruin it. But the way that this gets revealed and the way this is spoken about is not the way that you're explaining essay. Without knowing that, it does sound like the guy is an absolute douchebag and that he's a jerk, but he's not. When you realise that, you realise the heartbreak that he's been through, and you realise like what this has done to him, the fact that she disappeared for 11 years after that happened to him. And you realise everything afterwards, and it's like an arrow to the heart. And you just sat there thinking, oh my god, that makes so much sense. You did this, and no, I didn't. This is actually what happened. And then the realisation of, oh my god, then they moved on. And it was just like, what? I just want to reiterate, this author had the chance to bring awareness to male essay, and she didn't. I'm not blaming her for that, but I think it's a real missed opportunity. I was like, it's a 4.75, and it's one of those books that when you think about it after you've read it, it just gets better. Clearly about love and two people loving each other unconditionally. Almost 5-star, but the fact that she didn't mention that it was actually essay is just like, it's got me. I can't give it a 5-star because they don't actually mention the essay, and it is essay. It's full essay, like, without a doubt. I'm loving 1,000 Boy Kisses. The setup of their relationship is so beautifully told. You can tell that like they love each other and everything, but like the way it's told is in such a good way, and it's so like detailed but not too detailed, but it's enough detail for us to feel for these characters. I feel like the setup is beautiful. I think it's perfect. I think it's gonna be a really, really solid good book. A mess, aren't I?
As always with these books.
I had thought, like, I had a feeling I knew what was going to happen, the reasoning behind things was going to be, and I just prayed that I was going to be wrong. I wasn't wrong. I'm just so upset because it's just so beautiful, but it's so sad. It's a really good book. Got a show to go to tonight, I can't be crying. I'm 45% through this book, by the way, I forgot to mention. I'm on page 152 of 345, and I've got 3 hours and a half left of this book. Anyway, I need a break from that book for a little bit, I think, before I sob my eyes out, and then I have to redo my makeup before I go to this bloody show. Why am I doing this video? I'm only on book, what, 4 out of 7? I've got 3 more to do. I've just got home. I did finish. Oh my god, it's thundering. I finished 1,000 Boy Kisses.
Oh, I'm so conflicted. Okay. I did cry at this book a lot. I cried approximately like 10 times throughout this book. I will say, the storyline, I'm not sure. I loved it. I loved it for a long time. But then I feel like the secret got revealed too early. Like, it was revealed before halfway through the book, which personally I feel like if they would have like dragged it out a little bit longer, that would have made it like hit even harder than it did. The stuff is very much like, okay, realistically this would never happen, but at the same time I'm reading books to add to my fantasy in my head, so like I don't really want realism to like a T. Certain things that happen, if you read the book you'll know what I'm on about, but 1,000 Boy Kisses was about Rune and Poppy. Rune and Poppy were best mates since they were 5 years old, and then when they turned 15, Rune was told that he had to go back to Norway with his parents. This was only for 2 years, and then he came back, and Poppy, 2 months into those 2 years, decided to stop messaging him and completely disown herself from him and completely like drift away. Rune's back. He's very different. Is like a different personality altogether, and she doesn't know what to do. She's got a secret of why she kept him away for so long because she doesn't want to hurt him, and when the secret came out, everything changes. I don't know. I personally feel like I'm stuck between two ratings, because on one hand I liked it and it was like a 4.25, but on the other hand I'm looking back at it and I'm like, the story wasn't the best and the pacing was not that great. And I did find myself a lot of the time going, okay, where's this going? Where is this going? Like, what? Like, why? I feel like as of right now, my favourite book has definitely been You've Reached Sam, followed very closely by Love and Other Words. Love and Other Words is like a book that it's like really touched me in a way that even after reading it, it's like, it feels even more emotional thinking about it after reading it. But yeah, go follow me on Goodreads. That's where I put all my reviews of everything, and you'll see what books I'm reading. Yeah. Also, I want to say I am buying the Love and Other Words physical book. I'm going to buy that physical book because it is beautiful and I want to annotate the hell out of it. That book I would happily reread. It's a beautiful book.
It is the next day and it's currently quite late. It's about 12 o'clock. Very ready to start my book, I won't lie. I'm very ready to start If He Would Have Been With Me, which is this one with the two lollipops that are like crushed on the screen. An achingly authentic and raw portrait of love, regret, and the life-altering impact of the relationships we hold closest to us. This young adult romance bestseller is perfect for fans of Colleen Hoover, Jenny Han, and You've Reached Sam. You've Reached Sam is my favourite, like honestly, I love that book. Autumn and Finn used to be inseparable, but when something changed, or they changed. Now they do their best to ignore each other. Autumn has her boyfriend Jamie and her close-knit group of friends, and Finn has become that boy at school that everyone wants to be around. It doesn't stop the way Autumn feels every time she and Finn cross paths. Growing nagging thought that maybe things could have been different. Maybe they should be together. But come August, things will change forever, and as time passes, Autumn will be forced to confront how else life would have been different if they had never parted ways. Yeah, that's the book synopsis. Well, the blurb, not the synopsis. I'm very excited to read this. I'm very excited to read this. So far, I have spent an hour reading this book. I'm up to 31%, which is page 121 of 394. So far, I feel like it's a slow burn, definitely. I'm not exactly enthralled by the book yet. It's not really drawn me in too much, but it's good. It's definitely a slow burn. I feel like the relationship between Finny and... what is she actually called? I don't remember what her name is. Autumn, that's her name. I feel like the relationship with Finny and Autumn has been established, but I feel like I'm missing, like, actually knowing what the relationship is. Having a new chapter every 5 minutes, it's alright, but I feel like there isn't enough difference between the last chapter and then this chapter. I feel like I like there to be like a significance to why there is a new chapter and there isn't really one. So far it's okay. It's nice. I'm enjoying it. I feel like the stuff is going to happen pretty soon, like the actual stuff that we care about. The first chapter was very intriguing and it was ended on like a cliffhanger, and I was like, oh my god, wait, what happened? I didn't expect us not to actually know what happened. I'd have to wait till the end. So now we do. It's like, so I'm very, very excited to read the rest of this, and I'm going to continue, and I'll see you guys when I have read a bit more. Okay, mini update. I have just got up to 63% and I'm liking it a bit more. It's still a bit depressing, I won't lie. It's a little bit depressing in comparison to the other books. Like, they were emotional, but like there was some aspect, a lot of the books were like heartwarming at the same time, whereas this one I'm mainly just getting like depressed about it. Oh, I don't know how to explain it, because there is stuff that's happening. Like, it's not like nothing's happening, there is stuff happening, it's just not stuff about the people that I want it to happen with. I'm on 83%. I've got up to page 327 of 394. I really don't have long left of this book. I've got about 53 minutes, so just under an hour. I am severely bored. I'm really not enjoying this book. I had high hopes and I don't feel like this book's really interesting me at all. We've watched her grow up. That is something for sure that has happened. Apart from that, nothing else has really happened. Like, we've watched Autumn go to high school, and we've watched her throughout high school, and then go to college and pick a university. And then we've seen the highs and the lows, and her friendship group, and the breakups, and all that stuff. And I feel like it's just really depressing. And I'm sorry, but there's less than 20% left, and I am wanting this book to end. I am not enjoying this book in the slightest. I feel like so bored, but I feel like I'm missing something because the reviews are kind of decent for it. So, I don't know. I feel like the chapters are way too short. Like, way too short. Like, there's a 3-page chapter right now, and it's literally about nothing. And it's just like, it's as if there's a lot of filler chapters in this book, and I don't like filler chapters. I hate them. I think they're the worst thing. So I really am not enjoying this. People said this was like Love and Other Words, but sadder. This is nothing like Love and Other Words. Yeah, it's a childhood romance, but we hear nothing about their childhood romance, really. Love and Other Words, we see it, we read it, like, we experience it in the moment, and then it's like a dual timeline anyway, like, it's told at the same time. So it's actually interesting, and you see their childhood and how their chemistry started. In this, it's just, I'm just not into it. I barely know who Finney is. I really barely know who he is. I don't even know what he looks like, really. We had one description of him, and I just feel like I'm at a bit of a loss with this book. I'm just not bothered about the characters, and that's not great. Huh. Yeah, a lot of this book is just like her thoughts of what she wants to say to Finney and everything. And it's like, okay, that's good and all for a couple of chapters, but when it's like chapter 72 chapters, that's how many chapters we've been through. Like, this book has a lot of bloody chapters and not a lot of stuff happening. I feel like if you want a new chapter, something has to have happened big in the first chapter, or something in the next chapter needs to happen for it to be a new chapter. I don't feel like you should just have random new chapters every 5 minutes. It's boring. The pacing of this book, it's dragging. It's dragging. I'm not enthralled with this book. It's 83%. I don't like it. I'm on 83%. I've got up to page 327 of 394. I really don't have long left of this book. I've got about 53 minutes, so just under an hour. I am severely bored. I'm really not enjoying this book. I had high hopes and I don't feel like this book's really interested me at all. We've watched her grow up. That is something for sure that has happened. Apart from that, nothing else has really happened. Like, we've watched Autumn go to high school, and we've watched her throughout high school, and then go to college and pick a university. And then we've seen the highs and the lows, and her friendship group, and the breakups, and all that stuff. And I feel like it's just really depressing. Yeah, a lot of this book is just like her thoughts of what she wants to say to Finny and everything. And it's like, okay, that's good and all for a couple of chapters, but when it's like chapter 72 chapters, that's how many chapters we've been through. Like, this book has a lot of bloody chapters and not a lot of stuff happening. Want a new chapter? Something has to have happened big in the first chapter, or something in the next chapter needs to happen for it to be a new chapter. I don't feel like you should just have random new chapters every 5 minutes. It's boring. I'm so disappointed in a book. So that book was recommended to me by TikTok. Like some of the books in this video have been recommended by TikTok, very much hyped up on there. That is a book that people constantly spoke about and said like, oh my god, it's like heart-shattering, it's amazing. No, it's not. I hated that book. I really did. So the book, I don't even know how to explain the book. At no point have we really even looked into the possibility of Finny and Autumn being a thing. Halfway through, she does sort of debate whether or not she should be with Finny instead of who she's with, and she just like question herself. And it doesn't last that long though. We mainly just get internal thoughts. We don't see anything until like the last bit. In the last bit, we see like what happens with Finny and Autumn and what they talk out what happened and, you know, their relationship. So that all happens and the big thing in the book happens. And then we see how Autumn processes things and everything. And I am disgusted by the end of it. I truly am, because I feel like it was such a depressing ending that I was like, what? I really did not think we needed to see that, and it just seemed like it just came out of nowhere. The comments are like, oh, just admit it, it's a 5-star, like stop being pessimistic. And I'm like, bro, it's not a great book. Like, if you like it, great. I wish I did, but I hated this book I'm reading. Well, I'm about to start is, I think it's Things We Left Unfinished. This is like a dual timeline, which I am very much for. I love a dual timeline sensation. I did see someone say about TikTok, but I didn't see anything about the book, and I haven't seen many people talk about it. It's just been like in a list of like potentially emotional reads, like writing or something. And so she figures out that the last love story that her grandma wanted to write was one of her own, and it's about her past and something happened in World War II with her and somebody, and that's what the story's about. So it's gonna be good. I'm very excited. I just want to show you my bookshelf real quick because I'm really proud. So I bought some books recently. So this is my bookshelf. I've never actually shown it. It's not the biggest, but it's not the tiniest. I've actually started the fine print, which is why it's here and not up here with the rest of my books. I've got the Shatter Me series. I do need to get the novellas so I can actually read the novellas, which like would go in between. I've got Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I'm really excited to read, and I got the physical copy because it's a beautiful book. I'll see if I can slide it out a little bit. Look at it, it's beautiful. Look, it's so colourful. So very excited to read that. It's meant to be really good. It's a new book. I've got these. So I've started the Enemy series. So I've bought The Dead, which is the next one. Good Girls Guide and Mother, I've not read Fifth Wave. But yeah, I've got so many books to read and I'm so excited. This book is so much better. I'm on 10% of the book. It's so much better. I'm hooked. It's been one chapter and I'm hooked. Okay, I'll be entirely honest. I've been watching some films today, so I haven't had that much time reading. It's currently 9 o'clock and wow, this book. I've read 30% so far. I'm loving this book. I am loving this book. It's so good. I am enthralled with both timelines. I love both of them. The World War II one just has my heart, and I'm in love with it all. So I'll see how much I can finish today. Probably gonna stay up late watching it, and then definitely gonna finish it by tomorrow and finish one tomorrow as well. I feel like I'm gonna have to finish this tomorrow and break the rules a little bit, because I know The Way I Used to Be is like a heavy hitting book. And the one I'm reading right now I'm loving so much, so I don't want to like rush through it. Noah and George's relationship, I'm loving it. I'm loving their dynamic, and I'm loving where we're at right now. I feel like we're at the point where it can go either way. It's 50-50 on how the book is going to actually get written. So basically the whole point of this book is that both of them have their idea of what they want the book to be written as. I don't know if I have to explain this or not, but I don't know if I have, so I'm going to do it now anyway. So Noah is taking over her great-grandmother's book, and he's going to write the rest of it for her, because the last third was never written. And this story is about Jameson and Scarlett, who is her great-grandmother, and Jameson is a guy from he's a guy who was a pilot during World War II, and they fell in love with each other, and they have letters and actual writing of what happened during their relationship, but we don't actually have the ending, so we don't have the last third. So Noah and Georgia are basically arguing throughout most of this book about what the ending should be. Whilst Noah wants it to be a romance where they get together at the end, Georgia doesn't want it to be. She wants it to be realistic, and she wants them not to get together at the end. She wants it to be tragic. So they're arguing about what the ending should be. We don't know what the ending's going to be, and I love that. And it's a dual timeline storyline, and it's also from 3 different perspectives. Well, 4 really, because when we're in World War II we get both of the people's perspectives, but it's not exactly written like I felt this and I felt that. It's written from third person in the World War II bit, but every other paragraph is sort of written from one of the 2 people in the relationship's perspective. A bit complicated, I know, but it makes sense when you read it. It's really good. When I say the chapters are quite long, I mean they're like 25 minutes long for the World War II chapters, and then for the other chapters they're usually about 10 to 15 minutes long, sometimes 20 minutes. So I'm really happy with that, because I don't know if I mentioned it a little bit in the last book, the chapters were like 3 minutes long, and that is just not enough time for a chapter in my opinion. Unless you're going to give me some hard-hitting news, that is not a lot of time for a chapter. It's told really well, and I love the way it's like been planned out and everything. I just think it's amazing, and as of right now, 53% through, 52% through, I would highly recommend. It's amazing. So next time I see you, I'll probably be near the end or finished it, I'm hoping. And yeah, I'm very excited to see the ending, but again, I'm not rushing through it. I am not okay. I love this book. I love this book. It's amazing. I've just got ready for the gym, hence why I'm in different clothes. So I'm gonna have to finish this in about an hour. I've got 20 minutes left of the book. There was a massive plot twist, but I welcome that plot twist. It was amazing, and it's made the book like so amazing. The book was already amazing, but the plot twist is just like this could be a 5-star. This could be a 5-star. I'm really thinking it could be. The book is just brilliant. So like it's kind of set the bar for the next book, and I'm really hoping it's going to be good. Apparently it's like a real sad one though, but the one I'm currently reading is absolutely brilliant. I was right. I was right. This book, I need to sit you down. I need to talk and sit you down. Beautiful. I teared up so many times throughout this book, and it was so beautiful. And I just want to add, I didn't listen to any music. And the reason I say that is because sometimes when you listen to music, it can make the book feel a bit better than it actually is. I didn't listen to any music, and this book set the tone for the whole start of the book set the tone for the rest of the book. There was constantly stuff happening. There was an actual plot in the past story that was so gripping and captivating. It was so good. And I haven't even cried over it properly. I've got emotional and teared up at points, but I've not cried over that book. But now I've actually thought about it,
and I'm thinking about the book. That's the type of book this is. Like, it's a thinker. Like, you leave this book and then you get emotional. Like Love and Other Words. You leave and you think about the book and it makes you emotional instantly. It was beautiful, and I can't say any of it because I'm so glad that I went into this book completely blind, that I wouldn't want to ruin it for somebody else. Honestly, this book was utter perfection. Utter perfection. It's about, I don't know if I mentioned, it's about two people working together in the war, and they fall for each other. It's a pilot, and I can't remember what her job was, but it was like pinpointing things on maps, like where the pilots were, and where their planes were in the sky, and like where they were. I can't remember what it was called. And it's about their story together and their relationship, whilst we also see Georgia and Noah, who are both trying to figure out how the story is going to end, and there's a big twist that you don't see coming, and I didn't see it coming at all, and it just changed the whole book because it makes me emotional because it's bittersweet. It's utter perfection, and that's pretty sure that's my second 5-star of this video. All Eden wants is to rewind the clock, to live that day again. She would do everything differently, not laugh at his jokes or ignore the way he was looking at her that night, and she would definitely lock her bedroom door. But Eden can't turn back time, so she buries the truth along with the girl she used to be. She pretends she doesn't need friends, she doesn't need love, doesn't need justice. But as her world unravels, one thing becomes clear. The only person who can save Eden is Eden. Okay, I've read part 1. I'm gonna do 4 updates I'm planning to do on each part. Okay, book. I don't know how it's gonna end. I don't really understand how it could end, like in a good way. It's definitely hard to read, I will be honest. So if this subject matter is too heavy for you, I wouldn't read it. I am tempted to do an effort because right now it's really depressing, and I'm not like enjoying it right now. We will see. I will persevere for the video's sake. Yeah. Okay, it's been 2 chapters. I forgot to update a chapter 2. I'm not gonna lie. It's good, I think. I feel like at first I thought it was gonna be like a very like one-stop sort of book. What I mean by that is I kind of forgot the theme of the book and the fact that this is just like an emotional read, and I kind of thought that what was happening in one of the chapters was going to be like the whole of the book, so I was a bit shocked when everything like abruptly ended. I've just finished the 3rd chapter. I've currently got how long have I left? 1 hour and 47 minutes left of the book. I'm 61% through, so the last chapter is going to be like a big chapter. It's currently nearly 12 o'clock, so I will be staying up very late to finish this book. I feel like I need to finish it today. I know I said I was going to let myself finish it tomorrow and have an extra day, but I feel like I need to finish it. I need to finish it before tomorrow. I just finished that book and it's 1:30 in the morning. I feel like it's a book that you can't really rate. I'll be honest, I'm so conflicted because as much as the book was incredibly depressing and incredibly upsetting, it was written really well, and so I have to rate it high because it was beautifully written and real and raw, and it sugarcoated nothing. It was brutal, and therefore I do have to give it a high rating. I would probably give it a 4 because of how good the writing was. Anyway, I'm gonna give my overall verdict tomorrow when I wake up, and I did the 7 books in 7 days.